So this is my project, Granny Square Tranquility. Before we get started, I'd like to talk about some background knowledge. So some terms to know. Crochet, it's basically a type of craft in which yarn is made into a pattern by looping yarn with a hooked needle. The hook is basically a tool that is used to create the project, and you can see it's the little purple tool on the top left. A granny square is a piece of square fabric produced from yarn that is worked by starting at the center and going outwards. The work is basically the project. A stitch is a loop of yarn that is produced by passing the hook through the work. So my project, I had an idea that I wanted to create something new and interesting in my field of interest, crocheting. The concept was to create a granny square using existing knowledge of crochet, but trying a more complex pattern to be able to learn new stitches and to expand my existing knowledge. So on the left, you can see a completed work from Pinterest. This is what I was trying to accomplish. But on the right, it's the work that is 3/4 of the way down from Pinterest. This is where I got to. I didn't quite get it finished. So on the next slide, you can see this is where I started my work. So this is row 2. I forgot to include row 1, but basically it's just a little circle. So it's starting in the round, and that's basically, it just means that we're starting in circles. So it'll make like a circle, and you can make things that are round. So in the picture, you can see that there is a little tail of yarn. That's where it ends. And then there's one that is connected to the ball of yarn. That's the one on the bottom left. And the tail is at the top left. And then the hook is the little blue thing. And you can see there's a little green little object in there. And that's called a stitch marker. And it's basically just to let you know where you're at. So when you're starting rounds, which is basically like a layer, it just lets you know where you're at. So row 3, basically we just created another layer or row, so nothing too interesting here. Row 4, on this one, you can kind of see it's different from row 3, so we created like a little bulge in the project. I don't know how to explain it, but this will be used to like create the pattern later on. Rows 5 and 6, you can see on the left, it kind of looks like a flower, so on the last slide, you only just saw the circle, so it's supposed to be like a sun. So on the right, it's a little bit more defined. I put these two pictures together because if I put them on different slides, it would be kind of hard to tell which one or the difference between them. But on the left, you can see it's a little bit less defined than the one on the right. Row 7, this is where I started changing colors. It's just a little bit of white. It's just to create the square that's going to go around it, which is going to be the granny square. Row 8, you can see that now it's starting to look like a square. It's not super good, but it's starting to look like a square. And then row 9, this is the final row. It's definitely looking like a square more, and you can see the pattern in the middle. So I got the idea for my personal creative project just kind of by looking on Pinterest for crochet projects and kind of seeing what all there was on there and stuff that kind of like sparked my interest. My greatest helper was I didn't really have people who helped me with the project, but I watched a video of a lady who like showed how to create the project, and so I guess she kind of helped me she helped me along with like how to make it. So I guess she helped me. It wasn't super difficult for me to decide what my personal creative project was going to be, but I did have like a couple ideas in mind. I thought about making like little things to go around your mugs because it's like getting close to winter and it's gonna fall. So I thought about making those and like selling them to people and then donating the profits to charity. Do something like that. But then I had like the thought of, well, are people gonna buy them, and would I make enough money to like actually donate it? And then I thought about doing quite a few things, but yeah, that was one of the main things I thought about doing. Probably the most difficult thing I encountered when actually doing my personal creative project was keeping track of the stitches. So I don't know if any of you have ever crocheted before, But when you're crocheting them around, you have to make sure you have the exact number of stitches, or else like everything just messes up. So I don't know if you saw like the pictures, but it's not perfect because I lost a few stitches, and so it doesn't look perfect because of that. And obviously, if I tried it again, it would probably be better. But the pattern was difficult, and it was interpreted by someone else. So it wasn't the lady's the lady who I watched it. It wasn't her original like pattern. So she interpreted it from someone else. So it's kind of. So now, after doing my personal creative project, I have a couple ideas of what I want to do. I mean, I've had them for a while, but I've thought about crocheting a blanket, or like I don't know, some amigurumi like plushies. It's like in the round of what I was doing, like circles basically. But yeah, so now like learning the new stitches that'll allow me to do more things with it. And so yeah.